You didn't miss anything. And it looks like we're off. So, City Escape. Both runners are probably going to attempt City Escape skip. If they get it, it's about a 30-second time save. So there's the sink. That's expected. This boarding section is very straightforward. Just avoid cars, hit the ramps, try to get awesome jumps off of them. Looks like Shibake is just a little bit ahead. Or perhaps the runs aren't perfectly synced, but either one. Ooh, that's gonna be very unfortunate. Dai just takes a death at the beginning of City Escape. That's very costly. But Shibake is going back to reattempt City Escape skip. Gets it. So Shibake is definitely going to take a massive lead at the beginning here. That's CE skip, and the opponent takes a death at the start. It's going to be very hard for Dai to catch back up. So now Shibake's in the truck section. You've got reverse camera. You have to know the timing for spin dashing to stick to the hills. Excuse me. Shibake's going to finish with a 143. Not particularly good for a skip time, but he did have to go back and reattempt the skip, so I better take that into consideration. Not many people do that. It's often seen as risky, but he must have felt it was worth the risk, and it seems to have paid off. Dai is not going to be getting the skip at all, plus a death. So this is going to be just a very hard gap of time to recover from for Dai. Shibake on to Bigfoot 1, trying to get really fast hits on this boss. As long as you get frame-perfect hits, the boss won't start moving backwards and it won't become harder to hit. So he gets a 21. I can't see the centiseconds, looks like 89? Fairly standard for him to be getting a 21. It's quite a good fight. Die with the 208 CE after the death. That's a rough start. It's going to be hard to come back from that.
Just made it.
So Shibake he's holding a box. This piece is interesting. It can lead to some very rare second pieces. And I can't read Japanese, so I don't know what that is, but we'll see what it is. It seems to be... Oh, Center of the 8th Pillar. He just saw that as a free piece, so that was a third piece. I still don't know what this piece is. Ah, behind a face. So a 41 in that stage is not a good time. That is definitely below average. Runners usually try to get under 30 seconds. So that was a case of pretty poor RNG, pretty bad luck. Die with the 22 Bigfoot. That's also pretty close to a standard fight. Pretty good, gets the quick kill. Also gets he's holding a box. They both got the same first piece. Shibake's now in the Eggman 1 fight. It's a very easy fight. You basically just point forward and start shooting. Gets a 12. That's about as good as you can do. Dai's RNG is definitely going to be a lot better here. So Prison Lane. Prison Lane's a very technical Tails stage. There's a lot of narrow corridors and sharp turns that you need to take small hops around to maintain your speed. And there's a lot of enemies you can lock onto through walls and all that sort of stuff. Ooh, Shibaki almost dies right there, but saves it. That was a very clutch save. I've seen a lot of runners die to that particular jump. Ends up with what looked like a high 38 elevator time. That's actually fairly good considering the mistake. Die with a 13. Eggman. It's hard to get very consistent times on Eggman because his AI will just turn at slightly different times. So they're in the same stage again. Although Shibaki with quite the lead here. Oh, Dai ends up taking a death in Prison Lane. I wasn't looking, but it looks like it might have been the spot where Shibaki almost died. Wow. That's gonna be rough. It's very rare to see a death in City Escape, and it's also very rare to see a death in Prison Lane. So this is just a very unlucky run for Dai right now. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Dai, I think, went to clip under the platform there, but got stuck on the front of it. Wow, yikes. Yeah, Shibaki now entering Metal Harbor. This is a very dangerous stage because there's a lot of spin dash jumps very close to ledges that you can miss. Okay, so it looks like an 18 upgrade. Wow. 18 upgrade times are very fast. That's as fast as you can go. Shibaki clearly sparing no expense on this Metal Harbor, going for every trick. He'll probably go for the pulley skip here. He does, and he gets it. It seems. He definitely got pulley skip. He got stuck on that somersault section, didn't get the proper storage, so lost maybe a couple of seconds there, but still a fairly clean Metal Harbor. Should be in the low 120 region. He died right at the start of City Escape. The first pit. And then 2 deaths in Prison Lane. So yeah, the 122 Metal Harbor, that's a fairly good Metal Harbor. It's not exceptional for Shibaki, because there was that storage mistake, but it is still definitely a fast time. It's gonna be hard for most people to match low 120 times. Dai finally finishing Prison Lane. Definitely minutes behind at this point, so it looks like the run might already be decided. The race. Hopefully we'll still see a good run from Dai for the rest of the run, though. It's unfortunate that some unlucky things happened. Ooh. Shadow 1's being a bit mean and doing some high jumps. But that's still, other than that high jump, that's a clean fight. Dai getting the 20 upgrade, playing it a little bit safer, going over the loop at the start instead of under it. That's definitely safer to do, but not as fast. Now, I don't know if we're going to be seeing a pulley skip or not. I would assume not. And definitely looks like no pulley skip, so definitely still playing it safe here. It's totally fair to play this level safe. The underloop at the beginning and then the police skip are both very lethal tricks if you aren't consistent at them. Shibake now entering Green Forest, a very technical Sonic stage where you can easily fly off of all of the hills. There will be a wall run later on in the stage. What he has to do is trigger some loop speed mechanics while outside of a loop. And that will make him go flying into the tree and he'll be able to start running up. Die with the 128. Keeping it under 130 is always good. So yeah, we're seeing this wall run attempt right now. Gets the loop speed quite low on the loop and dies. Quite low on the tree, I meant. Oof, that's a rough death. Gets it second try. Ooh, he is going for TAS run. It doesn't look like he's making it though. He didn't get the jump off of the tree. That trick, that particular variant of the wall run is extremely difficult, I will say. They call it TAS run for a reason. We might be able to see what kind of lead Shibake has here. Although it's definitely going to be over the stage time. So it's over 1 minute and 42 seconds. Seems to be about 2 minutes. It's a very, very large gap. We probably won't see this being closed. I'm unsure if Dai is going to go for wall run or not. I suspect we might see him go for wall run, but I'm not entirely sure. He's probably aware that he needs everything in order to catch up. Now, I can't read these hints, but I can tell you this is definitely, yeah, shady place. Looks like it's gonna be something on Pumpkin. Ah, Rocket Path. Okay, so Dai is going to have the opportunity to attempt wall run, but does not. Just goes for the loop skip. Plays it safe there. Gets the nice storage light dash into the spring, which is clean and fast. I would always like seeing that. Now, Mission Street. This is a very cycle-based level. Shibake is going to get the hover upgrade. And as soon as he gets that, he'll do something called a pause hover, which is when you buffer a pause in between your two A inputs to get them to be as close together as possible. What this does is it just gives you a lot more height, and it allows you to get on top of this falling weight up here. Oh, he did it a bit too early and misses the weight. If he had just done that a little bit later, he could have gotten it. So right now, the best cycle that he can make would be the first cycle. And he's probably going to make that cycle because it's not extremely tight. It would have been more exciting to see a zero cycle attempt, though. The zero cycle is a very tight cycle to make. Okay, so Pumpkin Family, that's just at the top of church here. Lonely Tombstone. It's gonna be all the way on Church. I meant Pumpkin when I said the first hill. Pumpkin Hill. Pumpkin Mountain, rather. And when you do something bad, this can be in 2 places, although it's definitely going to be the one behind Ghost Train. So yeah, it does look like Shibake is getting the first cycle. That was very expected after missing the weight hop. Dai is going to have his attempt at 0 cycle if he can get on onto that first weight. And that cycle will save a lot of time. Definitely not enough to close this gap, but certainly a good, potentially 15 seconds, is it? I don't know exactly how much it saves. I feel like it's probably closer to 12 seconds. That looks like a better timed, yeah, that was a better timed pause hover, so Dai's gonna get on top of that weight, and he'll be on pace for 0 cycle. He can just make it through the stage very cleanly. So Shibake just checking for some free pieces at the top there. It's very beneficial to get a free piece at the top of Aquatic Mine. Does a sign clip there. Sign clip to get to Path to the Abyss. And it looks like Dai is taking half cycle. That's what it looks like to me. Half cycle is still good, still faster than first. It only saves about 4 seconds over first cycle, though. Oh, the major differences between Japanese and English. There are some differences between the text for the hints, as in there are certain pieces in Japanese that you cannot tell apart by grammatical or spelling mistakes in the hints. For example, there's a hint in Death Chamber called Angry Man. In Japanese, it's just always Angry Man, and in English, there is a distinction between Angry Man and Angry Guy, so you can tell those two apart. So the hints for English are a little bit better. That's the biggest difference between the two. I do also think Japanese loses a bit of time to the text displays between stages, because for whatever reason you cannot skip those displays immediately after all of the text is on screen, while you can in the English version. Well, the voice acting, you can actually, no matter what your language is set to, you can set the voice into any other language as well. But yes, the voice acting. Dai gets a free piece. It looked like it was near the wall. That's a very good couple of pieces. But near the blue flame isn't so desirable, but this is still a fairly good layout. Okay, so I guess I'll explain Route 101, since we're there. Basically, the reason why you see Shibake snaking right now is when you're snaking in this stage, when you're in a drift, you have a much higher speed cap, so you can keep your full boost speed throughout the entire stage. We're going to see him do a wall bang there, because it's impossible to keep full speed and go through that entire turn. There are some intentional wall bangs in this stage, like you just saw. Looks like he's on a good pace, could be below 214. He gets that nice boost at the end, saving some more time. Ooh, and he just misses that CRV at the end. That Honda CRV. Passes right through the front of it. The cars actually don't have hitboxes at the front, so you can do that. Dai just entering Route 101. Dai going for the backwards driving to just show off a bit of swag there. Yeah, and that was a 2:14. A 2:14 is a pretty good time. That's what you would expect from a lot of top players. Although we've seen high 212, a high 212 in this tournament by ID Geek. Hidden Base is a very scary technical stage. It involves a lot of pause hovers. Ooh, Shibaki was hesitant there, decided to play it safe. Dai still driving backwards. The controls are still the same for this. The controls don't get reversed here. Shibaki going for corner clip, gets that corner clip. If you don't enter that corner precisely enough, you can get dragged down into the sand, so that's a very risky move. Oh yeah, this is not on 38 pace for Shibake. This is on 35 pace. For sure. 35, 36. That's what we're seeing right now. Unless more major mistakes happen, we're going to be seeing a 35 and a 30 or a 36 from Shibake, it seems. I know people were talking about that in chat. Has a slight hiccup here. Doesn't quite make it right over that invisible wall. Gets all three of those dynamite lock-ons early. He doesn't use the new angle strat to lock onto those bombs before the camera change, but he still gets them fairly quick. Gets a 151. That's a pretty good time. You can see times as low as sub 140 in this, but that would be perfect. Absolutely. Like, the perfect hidden base would be a 139. If not a very high 138. Dai is going for something known as axle hover, which is just that pause hover over the fence. It's a pretty safe strat. Still quite fast. Shibake is now entering Pyramid Cave. Very technical Sonic stage. Gets a nice 12 check, which is about as good as you can possibly do for the beginning. Goes for this Chow Box hover onto the post and beam. And gets what looks to be a 29. Yeah, a 29 upgrade. That's quite fast. Pretty good. He doesn't use Spring Skip, but he does get a fast homing attack into the spring there. Going for the door clip, gets it first try, nice. One-minute check. This is a fast Pyramid Cave. Goes for the gravity bounce. Oh, and he dies. He bumped into the snake there and got a bad angle. So yeah, I guess I'll explain gravity bouncing. Essentially, if you spin dash off of a sloped surface and then perform a bounce, you can keep skewed gravity angle. Do stuff like what you just saw. Wow, that's a very unfortunate death there. That was a very fast-paced Pyramid Cave until that. Oh no! That's a huge mistake right there. That failed loop skip. That puts you all the way back at this checkpoint. Certainly not 35 pace anymore. That's very unfortunate. So now Dai is entering Pyramid Cave. Decides to just take this ending pretty safe instead of going for super bounces and gravity bounces. Doesn't want to die again here. Still manages a 136 with all that. That was... oh no, that was an 8. That's an 8. Not a 6. Can't see. Very unfortunate death there. Dai missing the rail. That's pretty costly. Let's see if he goes for the gravity bounce. Yeah, he sort of gets that as the backup. We're seeing Shibake reset on pieces. Now, I don't know what these pieces are that he's resetting on, but he's definitely resetting a lot. It's almost as if he's resetting on every green piece he gets, but I'm not entirely certain. He could have just been getting extremely unlucky, getting really bad pieces. But I will never know, because I cannot read Japanese. Dai now attempting Snake Skip. Gets it. Really nice. Very clean. Ooh. Alright. We're gonna see a death strat from Shibake. Hoping to get a second piece spawn in the red room. Lost about 10 seconds there to accidentally grabbing rings. And he's just doing continuous death strats into the fire in the back. Not what's generally considered to be recommended these days. What he just did is more recommended. Checking that hit in front of you. 151 from Dai in Pyramid Cave. That does save some time over Shibake because it was deathless. And that had a 4 in it, so this might be between 4 pillars, and we might see an out of bounds here. Yeah, I'm guessing it was between 4... I have no idea what it is, actually. Oh, no, it is between 4 pillars. It's gotta be. No, it's not. I have no idea. I have no idea what this is. What is this? It looks like it is between 4 pillars, but Shibake didn't know where he was going. So yeah, that was a bit of a mistake there, a bit of a hiccup. Four scorpions. Yeah, I don't know what Shibake was doing there. That was between 4 pillars, and he went completely to the wrong spot. Dai gets under the red light. That's a nearby piece. Looks like this RNG isn't so bad, from what I can tell. Shibake just going for a standard 1 cycle, no fireball skip or anything like that. Missing the 1 cycle on this boss fight costs a lot of time. And it's interesting how much we've seen this gap close. This definitely closed a lot more than I expected. Mostly because of Pyramid Cave and some large mistakes in Death Chamber from Shibake. Dai is probably only about 36 seconds behind now, it seems. So this could actually be anyone's race. I'm not sure if Dai uses CGSS or CGS, so we'll see. But I do know Shibake uses CGSS, and I do believe he is pretty consistent at it, so we should be seeing that, and that's going to be a huge advantage if he gets that and Dai does not. So this Egg Golem fight is very difficult. You have to have extremely tight inputs to get these super bounces. But this looks like a pretty good fight. That was definitely a good Egg Golem fight from Shibake. Gets a 32. That's a very good fight. Dai doesn't seem to be going for super bounces, although he might need them in order to catch up. Shibaki now entering Eternal Engine. This stage is fairly straightforward. You just do small hops in front of all of the doors, and you have to practice locking on to some of the enemies at the beginning. But he's going to be aiming for something we call First Cycle. There is a platform cycle right before you clip out of bounds, and he wants to get through that as fast as possible. Seems like he's on pace for it. Dai with a much safer Egg Golem, but also loses a lot of time, gets a 52. Loses 20 seconds there. That's gonna be hard to take back. Oh! Shibaki! Wow! Incredible! Shibaki gets a game over in Eternal Engine, which just switches the whole race around. Now Dai is in the lead. Wow! Incredible. I was not expecting that. Now it looks like Dai is on second cycle pace, whereas Shibaki might be on first cycle pace right now. Because of that, even though Dai has the lead right now, we might see him lose time to the cycle, and their run might flip around back to Shibaki's favor when the platform cycle comes around. So I suspect Shibaki will be taking the lead when we see the cycles come up, which is going to be fairly shortly. Dai is almost certainly going to have to wait with the 110 check. That's not fast enough to make the first cycle. Shibaki with the what looks to be a 106. That is definitely fast enough. So we're going to see Shibaki take the lead right here. Unless that happens... Ooh. Never mind. Shibaki ends up with a second cycle as well. That was very close, though. He almost took the lead. He doesn't trigger the door. He's going for this old setup for Eternal Engine skip. Gets it second try. That setup can be pretty tricky. This is quite the comeback. Let me just say, I'm incredibly impressed with Dai right now. Dai had a death in City Escape, 2 deaths in Prison Lane, somehow manages to pull it all back and take the lead. Pulls out a very safe 213 ending right there. Definitely doesn't want to miss the goal ring. Shibaki also playing it quite safe. Getting a 217 though. Okay, there's essentially 2 different methods to get the clip out. You can run at it at a very specific angle and then jump at a specific time to get the clip, or you can hover into it, trigger the door to open, and hold an angle while the door is opening, and stop hovering at the precise time. And if you have the right timing for releasing your hover and you're holding the right angle, the door will push you out of bounds. The door method is a lot more reliable, so I think that's what Dai went for, but Shibaki used the old method, which is a little bit less reliable, in my opinion. It looks to me like Dai does not know where this piece is. That's gonna cost him a lot of time. This is actually a very uncommon piece, though. I haven't seen that piece in a long time. And then try digging while watching the stars. Yeah, I believe you can only get that second piece if you have a first piece up top, which normally we reset for those pieces. But Dai did not. So yeah, Shibake now taking the lead. Played a much better Meteor Herd. Whereas Dai had a piece, he didn't know where it was, struggled to find it, lost some time to execution at the end too. So this is now just going back and forth. It's gonna come down to CGSS and FR skip. Pretty exciting race. I think both of them might be on 37 or 38. No, they're not. They must be on 38 pace at best. At best. Although I believe it's not quite even there. Maybe 39. Shibaki with a pretty clean Rouge fight. It looks like they both went for the ringless strat, which is nice. A little bit faster. Okay, so we're gonna see CGSS from Shibake. I don't know if he still uses the same strat he used to, but I do believe he uses a very unique strat here to get a free camera during the out-of-bounds movement, so that he can see where all of the kill planes are, because most of the kill planes for this trick are actually visible. You just don't normally see them because your camera gets stuck behind a wall. So let's see if he does that. You should do a camera change right there. Yeah, he's going for the free cam. Yeah, there it is. That's the free cam CGSS. Very rare to see that. I believe Shibaki and Amarula are the only runners I've ever seen use it. Ooh, Dai is gonna go for CGS, not CGSS. Oh, Shibaki misses the goal ring, though. That's a very costly mistake. So right now, if Dai can... Ooh, Dai got stuck there and died. It's gonna really come down to who gets out of the stage first. Wow. Ah, Shibaki misses the goal ring again. Not quite getting the distance that he needs. This is actually... Ooh! Dai could definitely take the lead. If Dai does not miss the goal ring here, Dai will pull into the lead. Because Dai is right at the end of the standard skip. The old skip that we used to use. And Dai hits the goal ring. Dai is the first one out of Crazy Gadget. Dai definitely has the best chance of winning right now. All he needs to do is not choke in Final Rush, and we're gonna see this crazy upset. Wow. Is this considered the hardest trick in the game? Some people consider it the hardest trick in the game. It is definitely not, though. Ooh, he just touches the goal ring there. Just by a hair. Wow. There are definitely tricks that are not used in runs that would be considered harder. For sure. It is a very big skip, though, and it is very hard. It's nothing to sneeze at, for sure. Dai gets a nice 15. Looks like he got an AI manipulation during that fight. Shibaki's also going to go for that AI manipulation, aiming for a 14. Oh, misses the second hit. That's a very important thing. If you miss that second hit, you've messed up the AI manipulation, and the rest of the fight becomes a little bit more difficult. Dai now about to attempt the FR skip. And gets the bounce. Oh yeah, I would also say PC loop speed isn't nearly the hardest trick in the game. Right now, Mission Street Wall Run is probably the hardest thing ever done by humans. but I don't think anyone's ever gotten it in a run. Okay, so it all comes down to this skip. If Dai has enough height at the end, he's gonna have a massive lead coming into the final boss. Shibaki also gets... Ooh, he's going for the early drop strat. That is very scary. And he gets it. Oh, nice. That's beautiful. That's actually beautiful. I love seeing that. And yeah, Dai is comfortably hitting the skull ring here. Definitely has a massive, massive lead. Just needs to get the quick kill on Shadow 2 just to secure this victory. Wow. I am so surprised. This race is really close. It's way closer than I thought it would be, and I did not expect this result. So I'm really happy.
Yes.
This is like a very unexpected end. Shibaki does get a 119 final rush though. That is a very impressive time for the standard skip. I would just like to point that out. 119 is very good. The best I've ever managed is a 121. Oh, and it looks like Dai finishes first. I was too distracted by that 119. So yeah, Dai wins. Very close race. Definitely GG to that. Wow, very close. 29 seconds apart. 29 seconds. Just, oh my gosh. That's all I can say. Congratulations to Dai for getting this extremely unexpected victory. Had the shakiest start, had the lowest chances of ever coming back from it, but then just pulled through for the rest of the run. Wow. So yeah, it definitely looked like Shibake was struggling with CGSS, struggling to get the full distance out of it. It is a lot more difficult to get the full distance if you are jumping from the box that he is. Definitely a lot harder to get that. Most people do it differently and get more distance, but their out of bounds is a bit scarier as a result. Yeah, definitely a good race from both players. I can't believe the result. It definitely did seem like Shibaki was rusty. So perhaps just doing that race is going to make him more consistent, and we'll probably see some better races out of him in the future. Probably some sub-40s. Potentially 37s and such. Yeah, this was a very fun race to commentate. It's unfortunate I was alone doing it, but that's what it is. It is late at night. There's not that many people available to do this, but I'm so glad I got to see this race. Back and forth, so exciting. Alright, so it looks like we're gonna be sending you guys over to... I don't actually think there are any other races on right now. There might be, But yeah, that's definitely going to be the end of this. I'm Jazz, your commentator, and yeah, just that was quite the race, wasn't it?